I ain't gonna lie, man. What was it? 14, 15 years in Seattle. Like, I never thought you would coach anywhere else. I ain't gonna even lie to you, bro. Like, in your view, like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? Does a message get run its course after
Did
a while?
you and Snide, did y'all run y'all fair one? Did y'all
they went to VMAC and squared up? That what you saying?
Did y'all you had to go throw hands with him?
Well, okay, what I would say, let me take you back. Okay. How could I have ever left USC? Really? You know, how could I ever go?
You know how you USC. Can Cats getting paid, you know.
NIL.
Before NIL. That's why you left.
The creator of the NIL.
Look at him.
But, okay. But, I mean, really, at the time, I couldn't picture coaching anywhere else because we had won so much and had so much fun, you know. But when it happened and I got a call and they started talking about, you know, the chance to do it exactly the way you want to do it and all that kind of stuff, all the control and all of that. And I love the league, you know, college football is great, but I love the league, the way it's formatted and it's the best of the best and all that kind of stuff. And the playoffs and the whole thing, the way it's structured. And so, you know, that happened. Okay. So how could it happen again? Well, let me help you out on this one. First of all, how did I wind up leaving Seattle? Well, there came a time late in that last season, there was about 4 or 5 games to go. And I went into John's office. I said, John, you know, we're coming up the end of the season here. And at the time, we didn't know, you know, how good we were going to do. Because we won 4 or 5 of the last 6 or something like that. And I said, you know, there's a lot of changes that are coming and potentially, and you and I aren't looking at these changes probably the same way. And because I had guys, I thought we were really close, and I love Bobby and I love Quandre and, you know, and I want, you know, T-Lock and all the guys. I wanted to keep going with those guys. And I knew that he was, you know, likely thinking differently. He was. And so I said, you know, this might, you know, and I had always been in charge the whole time. And I had always said to John that, you know, when I leave, I'm hoping that I'll be able to help you be the general manager and have this be your gig. And so I said, this may be that time. I said, maybe why don't you talk to ownership and see if you know, if you're sitting in the right spot where they would give you the chance to do that, then maybe it's time for us to move it on. And so that was really the conversation.
So you suggested, you suggested that. You came in and suggested a change. I got you.
Yeah. And I didn't want to, you know, I couldn't like quit on the fellas, you know? Yeah. And so it kind of I just had to kind of eat it, you know, how it came across. You're asking me still, you didn't know what happened. Mm-hmm. But John and I, we had been partners in this thing. And to me, the head coach, general manager thing is by far the most crucial relationship in the NFL, maybe most professional sports. And I always wanted John to be the best GM, you know, in the NFL or in professional sports. And I was going to promote him to be that. And that was the way we were getting married, in a sense, in this job. And we were going to, you know, nobody would know who's calling the shots or how we did it. It was just going to be the Seattle way. And so it worked, you know, and it worked great for us. And we had a blast doing it. But I kind of had that promise all along that, you know, someday you'll be the guy and I'll be getting out of here. No, it was going to come sometime. And so it just kind of worked out where that was, they were okay about it. And, you know, Jody didn't like the thought of firing me. And so, you know, we worked out a thing where we talked about consulting and that kind of stuff. But as soon as they started going, you know, I couldn't. I mean, it was too creepy for me to be around that building or be close to those guys.
Because they told me you was up there. It would have felt like
when Bill Walsh, see, Bill Walsh did it. He came back at the Niners when I was there. And, the last couple of years before George Seifert, you know, left, and it was creepy. You know, I mean, it's just like the old guy. You know, everybody's walking around corners and they were looking, ducking and dodging.
They told me you was back there creeping around the loading docks, trying to. I say
one time, you was walking through the I had to fill up my car with my stuff, and so
they were like, "Hey, I think I seen Pete walking up in the back over there in them bushes." Should I be afraid?
I was hiding. EK had a big bunch of pile of stuff to put in my car, and I'm starting to load up the car, and out of nowhere, it was middle of the day, and nobody knew I was there, and I see this guy come jogging into the parking lot, and I look over and say, "Yeah, shit, that's the new coach." You know? Yeah, met him before, you know. So he comes up, go back. So we had a real nice, you know, visit for a couple of minutes, and he, you know, he's. You know, it was classically, it was a nice meeting, but that was it. Then I load the car and I was gone, and that was it. Nobody had to know. And I didn't want to, it just would have felt, I didn't need to do that. So anyway, it worked out great, and had a fantastic offseason and did a lot of fun things and watched a lot of football and really got ready. I should be the best I've ever been. That's what I should be right now. And that's what I'm planning on being for these guys and see how far that takes us,
Well, I think the last time I told you thank you was probably after we won the bowl and I was giving you the hug and all that type of stuff on the field.
You was crying.
I was crying my ass
bubbles.
off. Yeah, all that.
You
all
goddamn
that, I knew I was done. You know what I'm saying? I knew my football journey was over. You know what I'm saying?
I said, this big old ass crying like a little bro.
We talk about this. Pete, don't give him that energy, man. You know what I'm saying? We talk about this on the pod.
Forgive somebody.
We talk about this on the pod a lot about when Beast came to us in Seattle in 2010. Could you just give us the background behind that? I heard, you were chasing him for a while, trying to get him a while. And why him? Like, what about this big head, big face?
We not gonna make this.
What about him?
He got somebody over there in the backfield right now.
I know I'm gonna get there, but it starts here. Let me do my journalism.
Oh, this is you.
It's my journalism. Yeah, it's my journalism.
Plays.
Yeah,
got a role. You guys got roles to play.
Yeah,
you right.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So here's the deal. It goes way back to recruiting. Knowing Marshawn during the recruiting process. And we wound up not getting together. I don't know. Did you ever visit, Sean? I don't think you visited us, did you?
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, and so, but I knew he was out there and all that, and we had a great year recruiting running backs that year. And then we played against him, and so I got to see what it was like playing against him. So I felt like I knew him well, driving the golf cart and all that stuff. That didn't matter to me. And going to Buffalo and getting in trouble with guns in his suitcase or something. I don't know what the heck that was.
He knew your whole thing, bro. He knew it all.
Man, we don't talk about Bruno.
I was just telling you, that didn't bother me one bit. I knew who he was and what he stood for as best I could from afar. And going into this new program that we had nothing at the time, we were just getting started, and I wanted to have somebody that that could make a statement with the way he played, and particularly involved in the running games. Why Cable was I got Alex Gibbs. You don't remember this, Marshawn, but we hired Alex Gibbs to be the line coach. And he quit. He quit on Monday of the first week of the season.
Yep.
He quit. And anyway, so the next thing was to get Caves to come in. But I wanted a mentality and I wanted a symbol. And really, I thought, and we tried to trade for him for 3 months. I kept John, call again. Just keep calling. I don't even, what did you want? I don't know. We don't even talk about what the compensation was, but eventually they said, okay. And so we got him. And from the moment he got there, he was very suspecting of me. I thought he didn't know what the heck he was getting into, but I was in love with the guy coming to our program from the very, very beginning. And that's why you talk about competing to get you out of Buffalo was, it was a long ass haul, but it was worth every minute of it. And so that was really, that's what happened. And then the rest of it was just let him be him, which I'll say it in front of him. It's a marvelous thing, and it's shown me how, and I've talked about it for years, about finding what is so extraordinarily unique about each person and let that come and bring it to the front. And Marshawn was always in the back of my mind because he's an amazing individual. And I'm not talking about all the crazy stuff. I'm talking about the effect you have on people and the effect of them responding to you. And as long as you and I were okay, everything was going to be fine. And so I was going to make it okay. It wasn't any, I was going to make that relationship successful. And I eventually found out that I kind of fell in love with you, but it took a while. But here was the deal, and I'm talking to Mike now. The deal was, I love Marshawn, and I didn't care what he did. I didn't care. He couldn't do wrong by me. And he never did. And he just did Marshawn, and which I thought was an amazing, incredible gift. And I love you to this day for all of the things you've continued to do, because your heart people don't realize how big your heart is and how much important it is for family and how important it is to take care of those that need you and all that. And so, you really have never been any different in my mind from the time I first met you and got to know you. But I'm one of your great cheerleaders because I love what you do and all that. And not everybody can see the beauty, but I know I can. And so we didn't have to make up. It was just like, come on, let's go do this. And I'll be darned if didn't you score a touchdown or something in the first game back or something like that?
Yeah,
dude.
Every
I
game.
Think you did. I think.
Every game.
Anyway, so
every game.
Every game. It was like 3 games or something like that. 3 games in a row or something like that.
Game, 4 touchdowns.
Whatever it was. It worked out awesome, and maybe nobody could see why or they couldn't figure it out, but they didn't have to. I didn't. I just want to do it again with you and have fun doing it and help. I want to help my team, and I knew you could. And so anyway, it's a good story.
We gonna edit all of that.
Why you gonna edit it? Because I was gonna ask him some more about you.
No, man, we ain't supposed to be talking about me. This is for
you part of the Get Got, dog.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is you too, bro. You know what I'm saying? Well, in that same vein, Coach, you got a hell of a back now. You drafted one in the first round. I called his game against Oregon this past year. I saw him running away from the defensive backs, man. Talk about Genty and, possibly how maybe he compares to this guy. Right, he's been on the show before and he's spoken some great things about beast mode, but just talk about your back and how he compares.
I love the fact that you guys have already started a relationship and that's already ongoing. And that asks you guys too. If you've watched him enough, there's something about his style that is reminiscent of some other great backs. He has an ability to use the force of the tackler, and he goes with the force, and he glances and bounces like Emmett, like Marshawn, that he would bang off of things as opposed to banging into them, and you would do that too, but you would do it to gain force where you wanted to go.